Hi everyone, Stephen Lee here. The SBA just came out with updates today in regards to PPP Round 1 forgiveness as well as PPP 2 applications. So let's get right into the 10 most important things you need to know in regards to this latest update. Number 1 is new forms are expected to be released sometime this week or early next week. Okay, so that means that whether PPP 1 forgiveness, that simplified form should be coming out very soon for loans under $150,000, as well as the PPP 2 loan application should be coming out within the next few days. Number 2, new PPP is authorized to operate through March 31st, 2021. Okay, which means that you must apply for PPP Round 2 by March 31st of 2021. So basically, if the forms were to come out and if banks were to start to take applications starting next week, you basically have 2 months to submit your application for PPP round number 2. All right, number 3 is the SBA has not yet announced when it will start accepting new PPP applications. Okay, once again, the SBA has not announced when they will start opening the application process for PPP round number 2. Okay, so just sit tight. And there is talks that some banks that may have opened up applications and accepted applications for round number 1 of PPP. Round number 2, some banks may be hesitant to open up applications, right, or receive applications on behalf of the SBA. So continue to check your bank, where you bank at, to see if they announce anything in regards to will they be accepting PPP round number 2 applications. Because, here at our firm, when we communicate with banks, even during the PPP 1 round process, we knew that the banks were flooded, right? And they were definitely short-staffed in terms of fielding applications and questions related to those applications and reviewing those applications. So once again, check with your bank to see if they will be accepting PPP round 2 applications, because there is word out there that not all banks will be accepting PPP round 2 applications. All right. Number 4 is if you received a PPP loan in round number 1, your max eligible round number 2 amount will be capped at $2 million. Now, this is something that we knew before, but this is once again confirmed. Number 5, this is new actually. If you did not receive a PPP loan in round number 1, okay, so that's if you did not receive a loan or PPP loan in round number 1, your max eligible first time PPP amount will be $10 million, just like round 1. So once again, if you did not receive a PPP during round 1, which ended in early August, then your round 2 of PPP is not capped at $2 million, but the max you can receive is $10 million, okay? Number 6, the 25% reduction in revenue. This latest update gives us a formal definition of what that revenue is. Okay, let me read it for you. It's going to be gross receipts that includes all revenue in whatever form received or accrued. So they're going to go off of your entity's accounting method. So whether you're cash basis or accrual, you're going to be using that revenue amount from whatever source: sales or products, services, interest, dividends, rents, royalties. So a bunch of flow-through income here, fees or commissions, and then reduced by returns and allowances. So basically, they're going to be taking that total income from your tax return, right? So that's what they're going to look at. And in this new update, they've also included that you can actually utilize either your 2019 and your 2020 tax returns, the total revenue that's shown on there. So if you show a total drop of at least 25% of total revenue over year over year, 2019 tax return versus 2020, then you can utilize those numbers, okay? But once again, this kind of coincides with the March 31st application deadline for PPP round number 2. So most business returns are due March 15th. So definitely you want to get onto your CPA, talk to them to make sure that your 2020 return is going to be ready, right? So that you can apply for PPP round number 2. Another thing related to this is in revenue, in total revenue, remember, your forgiven PPP 1 amounts are not included in revenue, okay? So once again, do not include that Okay, not only on your tax return, but also when you apply. So don't include that. And then once again, you can utilize your 2019 and your 2020 total revenue shown on those returns to file, okay? Remember, if this is the kind of information that you're looking for, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on your notifications. All right, let's go to number 7. First-time appliers for PPP loans in this round, they are called first draw PPP loans. Okay, so this is a new term that we're seeing now. So this is basically first-time PPP applicants. They're going to be labeled as first draw PPP loans. Okay, this one, remember, once again, the max loan is $10 million. If this is your first time applying for PPP loans, you need to have been operating since February 15th, 2020. Okay, so you need to have been in operations since February 15th, 2020. You need to have 500 or less employees. Remember, this round includes, you can now be a sole proprietor and independent contractor. Non-for-profits, including churches, also qualify. Remember, hospitality and restaurants, those with a NAICS code, the NAICS code, that starts with a 72, and that have fewer than 500 employees per physical location. Okay, so this is based on location, right? And then no publicly traded company or business controlled by or affiliated directly or indirectly with the President of the United States, the Vice President of the United States, head of executive departments of the United States, members of Congress of the United States, or their spouses, right? So this is kind of going, making sure that, you know, anybody that's affiliated directly or indirectly with businesses, and they are also representatives of our country, cannot apply or do not qualify as an applicant for this next round of PPP. Number 8, PPP loan amounts. We know that it's 2.5 times your average monthly payroll. What they also specified here was that you can use the higher of 2019 average monthly payroll or 2020. For most businesses, 2020 monthly payroll went down, so you probably want to apply with your 2019 average payroll. Okay, so in this newest update, you can use either your 2019 or 2020. They clarified that here. Remember, hotels and restaurants, once again, with a NAICS code starting with 72, is actually 3.5x the average monthly payroll, okay? Number 9, we're getting there. Eligible costs for round 1 and round 2 forgiveness. Remember, this was expanded. So remember, round 1 forgiveness was the 60% minimum has to be used for payroll, and the remaining can be used for other eligible expenses, right, and cost. And I'm going to go into what those other eligible expenses are. Okay, and also in round 2 forgiveness, that's also going to apply. The 60-40, 60% minimum needs to be spent on payroll, and then the rest needs to be spent on eligible expenses. What are those eligible expenses? Those include mortgage interest, rent, utilities. Those were the standard 3 that was included previously in round number 1. But also in this new update, they've also included personal protective equipment, so PPP expenses are also included. Any modifications to your business site in order to make it workable for your employees and team members is also included. Business renovations due to rioting or looting during public disturbances in 2020 that were not covered by insurance proceeds or other compensation is also now an eligible expense. So those types of expenses due to rioting, if it was not covered by insurance or other types of compensation to renovate or repair damage done to the rioting or looting during 2020, those additional costs, those out-of-pocket costs will also be considered an eligible expense when the forgiveness process. Okay. Also, business software for cloud computing, processing payroll, human resources. There's a long list of other eligible expenses now, and most of these are for operating expenses. So these are, typical operating expenses that you might have incurred during the 2020 year. Okay, these are also now included during the forgiveness as an eligible expense. All right, number 10 is the simplified forgiveness application. We knew this was coming, and we should be able to see it in the next few days. And during this, just a quick review. This is for round number 1. So if you received a PPP loan in round number 1 and your loan amount was under $150,000, then this new simplified form is for you. Okay. Remember, this is not an automatic forgiveness form. There are a lot of clients and a lot of people that I've talked to out there that think that if you submit this form, you're automatically forgiven. Please don't assume that. You still have to submit it. And you still have to submit it with complete honesty and accuracy. Okay, so this is not just automatic forgiveness. Don't assume that your loan's going to be forgiven and it's not going to be audited or examined. So you make sure you put accurate information on here. Once again, it's going to be a one-pager, right? So it's definitely simplified. And there's going to be 4 parts to this one-pager. The first part is a certification by the borrower that the loan proceeds were used properly. Once again, remember the loan proceeds, the minimum that you need to spend is 60% on payroll. Okay, so at least 60% was spent on payroll, and the remaining 40% was spent on eligible expenses. Okay, we just went over that in my previous one, what the eligible expenses are. Number 2 is you have to input the number of employees that you're able to retain with the PPP loan. Okay, so you have to certify basically how many employees you're able to keep on payroll while using this loan. Number 3 is you need to estimate the total amount of the loan spent on payroll. Okay, so this is getting at, did you meet at least that 60% requirement? Okay, so you need to put on that line the total that you spent on payroll of that PPP loan. And the last is they're going to ask you to input the total PPP loan amount received, right? So they're going to ask you basically how much did you receive in PPP loan funds. They're going to probably compare it to that 60% to see if you've actually met the minimum spent on payroll at least. All right. And one last point is they mentioned that you should save all records related to this forgiveness for at least 4 years. Okay, so you need to save your records for this PPP loan forgiveness for at least 4 years from the date you file the application for forgiveness. All right, there's gonna be a lot of more updates coming over the next few days and weeks. Don't forget to hit subscribe and turn on your notifications because I'll keep you posted on all the new updates. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.